Oneiro's getting a new weapon, which is something that hasn't happened in a good 3 years since the Karambit edition, back when swords were the most dangerous thing in the game, and everybody hated them. Though, not me, I kinda thought it was funny. Shields were initially brought up to me shortly after that, but I wasn't really sold on the idea back then. I kinda figured just bashing enemies, it wasn't enough, right? However, earlier this year, some guy drew out the concept a bit more, and I thought it was cool enough to give it a shot, and I'm glad I did. It's actually been super fun to playtest, and I hope everybody finds the shield to be a welcome addition.
Okay, so, this is the wooden plank, which is a shield you can find in the first layer. The stats aren't too subpar, but that's because it's a shield, right? So, shields, you pick it up, you see that cool little animation where you look at the back, see the front and all that. So, the combo string, I'm going to hit the left mouse button once, it's a punch from the left to the right, and then if I hit it again, you end up getting a two-parter where you swing it down and swing it back up. So, all shields will break every wall and ceiling with a single hit. And that's just a common trait with any shields. So, you can just break a whole bunch of them. Excuse me. Alright. So, it's all that in action there. Shields, of course, wouldn't be shields without some kind of defensive thing, right? So, if I hold the right mouse button, I end up blocking. It takes up half the screen, but it also reduces damage by half. So, if I'm taking 20 damage, I can hold this up, I'll take only 10. Now, if that still doesn't sound good, if I let go of the right mouse button at the right time, right? You see a little parry animation. If you time this well, you take no damage whatsoever, and any of your on-hurt items like Echo Barrier or Sapling, they all activate without you actually taking damage, which is super good. For example, we have 5 Echo Barriers, so that's 50% chance that we reflect damage back at them, and we have 1 Dreamcatcher, meaning that when we get damaged, we get 2 Essence, and that's it. It's super simplistic. However, when we pair it with the shield, right? When I parry, I got Essence out of that, and I was able to send the damage back. And I didn't take any damage whatsoever, so that's what this whole shield thing is about, right? It's parrying consistently, being able to activate Echo Barrier without taking damage, and being able to activate any on-hurt items without taking damage. Something else to mention here. That parry animation has a hitbox, so you can just straight up hit anyone with it, and it paralyzes them, allowing for a super easy death by fire, apparently. Just paralyze them like that, and get them both. So anyhow, that's the shield in a nutshell. There's quite a bit more to talk about in this episode, so I'm going to cut it off right there.
So, how about we talk about the new items, along with any changes to the old ones? The first new item that I'd like to talk about, Dreamcatcher. I showed this off a little bit ago in the video. It's a rare tier item that you can find on Layer 1, which complements the new weapons since it falls into the on-hurt category, and it gives you 2 Essence upon activation. Stack these to make sure that every single parry you do gives you, 10, 12, 14 Essence. Next up, we have the Knife Holster. This one I teased off very briefly in a couple screenshots, and someone managed to hit the nail on the head. This item makes you throw an additional knife when using a throwing knife, and like every other item, this can be stacked so the amount you throw will keep increasing. If you stack, 5 of these, you'll use 1 throwing knife and you'll follow it up with 5 other throwing knives. Now, it is important to mention that each knife does take a knife away from your inventory, but it's also something to mention that the knife holster generally increases the amount of knives you find, so it should balance out. This item was suggested to me a little while ago, earlier this year, and while it's not exactly how they had suggested the item should be, it's still something that they would like, I think. And hopefully that extends to other people. The last item in this version I'm adding is called the Divine Bracelet, which, as some of you may have guessed, this is the Golden Mimic item for the shields. This simply allows you to move at full speed while blocking, and it reduces incoming damage by an additional 25% for a total of 75% damage reduction when blocking. And trust me when I say this, the Divine Bracelet really lets you take some hits. That 75% damage reduction is nothing small. That is all for the new item, so on to the changes. Starting off, Bag of Sand has been changed to an on-hurt item. It still raises your stats, but it only chooses between attack, defense, or speed now. And instead of it being an on-kill item, it's an on-hurt, so it benefits shields more. Plus, it doesn't clutter up the screen as badly. Spike boots have been nerfed slightly, and they no longer descend the player quite as fast, so this kind of thing isn't possible anymore, which is probably for the best. And the last change I did was towards the mimic, the gear mimic. And I made it so that if you use it on a weapon to transform it, it's not going to transform into a weapon you're currently holding. So, use this if you want to kind of skew your chances. Now, on to the minor changes. Some people would probably argue this is a major change, but now all sides of the wall flow in a very downwards-like manner, and it looks significantly less jarring. I had improved the code to spawn weapons and made it much less repetitive, so now you should be able to find the weapon you want as long as you search all the chambers. I've also made it so that the engravings on the walls now grant you some essence, and I made some minor changes to current songs, and I made a couple minor changes to various UI elements. Now, onto the last section, everything about Steam. First off, this cover's gotta go. It's not special, not really fitting, and overall not good. So I decided to make 25 new ones, focusing on different creatures and objects. I'm thinking about this one with a skull, but I think it's kind of overkill. And I do like this one, though it seems like a lot of people seem to like these. I'm not sure which one I'll choose yet. And I'm not only changing the cover, I'm also going to be changing this icon, so it'll be a duplicator now. And I'm changing the library banner to maybe this or this. There's 3 achievements I'm adding. One is called Acrobat, where you have to kill 2 enemies with throwable gear while you're airborne. And as you do this, you have to make sure that you throw the gear while it's airborne, and it has to hit them while you're airborne. It's a little bit tricky, but it's not that bad. There's a second achievement called Defensive Measures, which is parrying an attack that would have otherwise killed you. And the third achievement is called Running in the 9.0 MS, which is a reference to that one song. Yeah, that one. Yeah, so this achievement you get by rolling sideways with your speed stat being 9.0 meters per second or higher. Anyhow, that's pretty much it for version 1.3.1. Feels great to finally add another weapon, and if you end up playing it, hopefully you'll have some fun with it. And also, if this is your first time seeing these videos, you can hit that subscribe button, because my channel has recently hit 100, meaning I'm essentially a full-time YouTuber and I crave likes and subs and, bell notifications, all that jazz, like my life depends on it, which hopefully it doesn't. Seriously though, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support, everybody, and I hope you guys have a great night. See ya.